Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Youthman. As you can see, I'm not in my home theater. Today, I'm in my friend Nick's home theater. Nick's home theater is part of the Florida Home Theater Tour. Now, I'm super excited about this tour because we have over 20 theaters that'll be featured here on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and click the bell to be notified of future videos. In this video, we'll do a complete tour of Nick's setup, his speakers, all of his components, the size of his room, his equipment, and also his massive GSG subwoofers. I'll also sit down with Nick to discuss the decisions that he made for his room, his journey in home theater, and if he did it all over again, what would he have done differently? Now, before we get into the home theater tour, I want to give a big thanks to today's sponsor, GSG Audio. Over the last 3 years, GSG Audio has led the way in DIY subwoofer enclosures. It all started with 3 friends building enclosures in their garage and has since grown to an 8,000 square foot shop in California. GSG flat packs allow for even the novice of home theater or 2-channel enthusiasts to build a subwoofer with incredible performance at a fraction of the cost of a manufactured subwoofer. Each flat pack is engineered so that it's nearly impossible to assemble incorrectly. GSG recently added fully finished powered Devastator subs and will soon be adding more subs to their fully finished lineup. Now, I'm excited to share that they're currently developing dual 18s and dual 21s, as well as a new installer series. So be sure to check out GSG Audio down in the description below. Nick, thanks so much for inviting us into your incredible home theater. Guys, this is fantastic. What you've done in this space, I believe that they're really going to enjoy. So Nick, let's kind of start off with dimensions of the room. How big is your room?
Sure thing. This is a bonus room. It's a 16 by 22 approximate width, length, and a 10-foot ceiling.
Very cool. And so you've got even...
yeah, there's like a tray
like
there.
A raised ceiling?
Yeah, a little, maybe an 8-inch riser, I'd say, tray, and which gives a nice effect with lights up there, I think, LED lights.
Definitely love what you've done up there. So let's kind of start off with the screen. We've got this massive screen here. You've gone with a projection screen, so kind of tell us about that.
Sure thing. The screen is a Screen Innovations 133-inch 235:1 format. I prefer this room to be mainly movies, so we went with that format instead of a 16 by 9 screen.
Sure.
It's the Slate 1.2 gain.
Okay.
To help the JVC.
So the 1.2 gain does what?
It's, from my understanding, it's an ambient light rejection screen for which you really don't need in here, but
right.
It'll throw back more light to the viewer.
It makes it brighter because the JVCs, they're not like light cannons like some of the other projectors.
Phenomenal black levels, but yeah, we wish we had that little bit extra brightness.
Absolutely. So by having that extra gain, that gives you a little bit brighter image. Cool. So what else?
And I went with the they have the real fine edge and a border.
Yep.
But I was a little concerned with getting a perfect setup. But with the mount I chose, it really was simple. I could have gone with a fine edge screen. But we did the black velvet, which is good because if you get some bleed of your screen, it's so dark in here, you never see the extra image beyond that point.
Sure.
So,
yeah, this is very similar to what I've got at home. Mine's about 3 inches wide.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the screens that these guys are making nowadays are super thin. So
yeah, we
definitely beautiful setup there.
We love it. I think I'm really happy with the choice. The only thing, maybe I wish I went bigger. I wish I went your size. Yeah. You got 150.
I have 150 diagonal.
Yeah, I was a little concerned with the layout of my room, if it would interfere with the towers, which you'll see in a room view. But yes, but I think I'm happy with the size.
Dude, it's phenomenal. So you got 133
diagonal.
133-inch diagonal screen, and so in the back we've got projector. JVC, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you were a big influence of what I chose. I was looking at Epson's, the 6050, and then I chose to go with the JVC RS 2000 NX7. Yeah. And I think that was a good choice because I'm super pleased with the black level. A phenomenal picture when you get it kind of dialed in, and we're super pleased.
It's a gorgeous picture, definitely gorgeous picture. I definitely love Like you said, the black levels are one of the biggest benefits that JVC offers, but we do sacrifice a little bit of that brightness as a result of that. But I love your image. I love this massive screen, very, very immersive. And so from there, let's go ahead and talk about maybe this huge front soundstage.
Yeah, I decided to go the route of a DIY subwoofer. We looked at the SVS, possibly monolith, and decided to. I'm kind of handy. Did a lot of the room work myself and many projects over the years, but figured I'd go with the do-it-yourself project here from GSG Audio.
Okay.
With the Dayton Ultimax 18-inch subs.
Nice.
And it was a fun project. Man, it took me a couple weeks. Just I did two at a time. I think that was the way to go, rather than build one and then go, oh no, I got to build another one. But
sure.
I did two at a time. It went very smooth. And then we did a finish of the Duratex spray.
Sure.
And that piece of cake.
Dude, it looks awesome. So now this is kind of unique. So I've always shared with my audience that I'm not super handy. I can't build crap, but GSG kind of has an interesting product, and I believe that's what you use. It's called a flat pack.
Yeah, this particular model was the roundover 18-inch mini Marty.
So this is a mini Marty. And
not so mini Marty.
They make a full Marty, I think.
Full
too,
Marty
right?
is another. I'm not sure how much higher, but
oh my gosh,
it's probably tuned a little differently. But
yeah,
I love the finish on this. I think it's a good-looking subwoofer. I believe now they have a different bottom on them. It's if I was to show you the bottom, it has kind of a C structure, recessed, where now it's a total flat bottom, which people can turn the sub on the side.
Gotcha.
So maybe they wanted to use that as closer center stage.
Sure.
So where these I can't really tip because it would look kind of funny.
So just to give you guys an idea, like how long do you think it took you to build this? Was it a long process? Is it a couple days?
You really don't want to. You want to kind of enjoy the process. Don't rush through it. Take your time because things do have to be put together pretty accurately.
Sure.
And you're gluing up steps, or you're clamping, you're waiting for glue to dry. It's a process, but I'd say 2 weeks, maybe 2 weekends.
Yeah.
And then a finishing I might have done on a third weekend. Spend some time with the sanding.
Yeah.
The finishing.
Definitely spend some time. You did a great job on the finish, man.
Yeah, for my first, I did the old Harbor Freight spray gun. Didn't put a lot of money into the texture gun. You can roll it on or you can spray it on.
Okay.
I chose to do the spray technique.
Probably made it a whole lot easier.
Giles from Home Theater Fanatics.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Giles has got a great channel.
Yes, yeah, I learned a bunch of tips from that and fought my way through it, and it was a lot of fun.
Definitely very cool. And I think you had a conversation with me prior that you kind of made like a little tent to spray this down?
Yeah, I picked up, went to Amazon, saw a spray tent, and fit right in there. Kept the garage nice and clean.
Nice.
And just put on many layers, had it on a little spin dolly.
Sure.
Just worked my way around.
Very cool, very cool. Well, we'll definitely link to Giles' channel down in the description, as well as GSG Audio and the flat packs. So next thing, let's go and talk about your speakers, and then we'll get to the rack after that.
Okay, in my room, I have a 724 system. I went with the 4 Atmos. I think that's perfect for this size room.
Sure, absolutely.
I don't think I'll never need anything more than that, I think. Maybe just upgrade the equipment.
Sure.
But, yeah, so we're pleased with that. We got the Klipsch towers, went with the 8000Fs, the RP 8000Fs, and the 504C center.
Right.
That was a nice upgrade.
Big old center channel, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's the clarity of these. I was a little concerned with the tweeter of the Klipsch, but man, I'm totally pleased how they sound. Nice. And I'll probably upgrade the Polk surrounds to have more tonal match to these.
Sure. So you've got 3 up front, we've got 2 side surrounds, and then 2 surround backs. And those are kind of like what I went in my home theater, which is kind of like a wide dispersion, and it basically just allows sound to not be really directional. Some of you guys may want to choose to go with direct radiating, like direct like bookshelf speakers on the wall or in walls. Really, it's just a preference on the sound that you want. So we've got 7.2.4. We talked about your subwoofers, your speakers. We've got the screen and the projector. What else?
We forgot the Atmos.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you didn't mention.
We said 4, but yeah, those are Klipsch as well.
That's right. Those, and you said you kind of spent a little bit extra on those?
I think it was worth it. I went with the 18RC, the Pro 18RCs.
Okay.
And they have the directional, the mid and the tweeter. You can kind of angle that.
Right.
It sounds pleasing to the ear, I think, for especially like movies like Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So super cool there. So we've got the speakers. Now let's talk about your equipment.
For the receiver, there were many choices I could have went with. I'm a Denon fan, previous owner of a Denon, but it didn't have as many channels as I needed.
Right.
Decided to go with the Marantz, the 8015.
Nice. I reviewed that.
Yes,
Fantastic receiver.
Again, I was watching your channel, and that helped my decision.
Cool.
Why I chose what I chose. We added the chiller. Another recommendation of yours. I think that really keeps the heat down of this receiver. It runs hot, so when you get cranking, you get those decibels up there.
And you can use those on. And I like the fact that the AC Infinity, they fit and they look pretty much the same profile. Like they built it for Marantz.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting there, but that keeps the receiver from getting too hot. And then what do we got below that?
Okay, right here we have the Behringer, the NX6000D. If you don't have a mini DSP, this has a DSP built into this one. Okay, so you can kind of EQ for your subs? Yep. Very cool. And, not sure the power rating on that, but so far, knock on wood, I'm enjoying that. On the bottom, we have the Panamax line conditioner, surge protector. Sure. And over to the right, we have my Bluray, Sony Ultra HD 4K, Amazon Firebox.
For streaming?
For streaming, yeah. Yep. And then we have a HD antenna in the attic, so I find this little box here is great for all our local ABC, CBS and all that for getting a good content. It looks better than it does from your supplier, your cable provider.
Yeah. So that's the way to cut the cable, and this is like super inexpensive. We're talking about 20, 30 bucks or something?
Yeah, hardly anything. So it's definitely a nice cost saver. Watch the Super Bowl, and it's great. Yeah. And
then tell us about the cabinet. Looks like these are two cabinets
put together? This is just an inexpensive way to I didn't have a rack, per se, built in a room or anything, so we just went with a IKEA, believe it or not.
Nice.
Just two things. You pick your doors, glass top, two together. You can wall mount these out in the living room there. We have the other unit very similar. We have it wall mounted.
Sure. And then so you keep your media in these two cabinets back here?
Yeah, a bunch of discs and what have you. And in here, 4K, Sony PS4.
Very cool.
So, which I never use. I should sell it. Any guys looking for a PS4, hit me up.
Now, one thing that we didn't mention too that I think is really cool, and I asked you about this earlier, is what kind of stand are you using for the center channel?
Yeah, it was in my home office. We had just an extra monitor stand, and I'm like, man, I don't need this, and threw the center up on it because I was looking just for something to raise this up, get it more, especially with the riser, get the sound up. And it's just a monitor stand, and it's worked out great.
That is super, super cool. Inexpensive way to lift up your center channel. And the cool thing is from a distance, it looks like it's floating.
It's just floating there, yeah, it's great.
So that is super awesome.
Okay, and then here for the seating, what we did is our seats are curved. They're made by Paliser.
Okay, yeah.
They've been out for years. And we have 3 in the front. And in back, we have a riser with 4 seats.
Right.
And we decided to really make the riser high so that when we're sitting back here, there's no chance of seeing anybody's head in the front row. We have ample room in here, maybe 4 feet. So when you're fully reclined, somebody has to get up. They can easily get by you.
I'll be honest, I'm jealous on both of those accounts. I should have went taller in my rear row. So I love the fact that you got 2 steps up. And you even did something a little different here. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the walls have a bump out feature, 2x4 thickness, just for aesthetics. Same on the opposite side, and that gave us a really good opportunity to come off that bump out with an angled entry. So it almost like welcomes you in and out of the riser. So it just feels good.
Very natural. And like I said, it's a different design.
Instead of the
usually
typical
people just go straight. Yeah, like I did in mine. You're just trying to outdo me is what it is.
No.
But I love the fact that you've got this high riser, and then you kind of built your riser after you got your seats, right?
Yeah, that was really part of the initial layout when the room was just flat. We previously had our 70-inch TV. It just didn't have that immersive experience.
Sure.
We had to go projector. eventually and change the room this way.
Right.
Whereas we used
so
to
it
sit
was
that
facing
way.
this way, and then you rotated everything.
Turned everything and decided to do the riser with the projector. So
Yeah.
we laid the seats down in the middle of the room pretty much, maybe a little past middle, and not scotch tape, but painter's tape the floor just to get a visual. We set chairs here, had them up on buckets and everything else.
Yeah, just something to see what height would clear the screen.
Yeah, and we felt like this was it, so let's go for it. Roll the carpet up.
Sure. So did you build the riser yourself?
Yeah, we planned it and moved all the electrical, added electrical, and built the riser. That was a pretty good process. I'm glad I did it before the price of wood went crazy.
For sure.
So we've had this like up and running for about a year now.
Yeah.
And did the riser, like I said, 2x10s or 12s. I can't. I don't recall exactly, but
sure.
You'll share pictures of the build.
Yeah, definitely. And so inside the riser, you have some stuff in there too. Tell us what you put inside.
Yeah, we put some strapping in there. I doubled up the thickness of the plywood. Everything was screwed, no nails, glue, screw, tar paper, everything. And put the Roxel, the safe and sound insulation. That's all on the walls and the bump outs and the ceiling and stuff. So
we've got insulation in here, and so what's great when you screw those and glue them and do all that, man. I mean,
we're not creaking. It's nice. Maybe in 10 years it might start creaking, but I think we built it pretty solid.
Dude, I love what you've done here, and even the carpet itself is super plush. I love the feel of that.
The pad. I think the pad we went with was like 10 or 12 pound pad. It was really thick stuff. So
nice.
It gives you more. This is the only carpeted room in the house, so it's
a
nice.
Cool vibe, man.
You got to have carpet, I think, in the home theater just to get that really nice dead sound.
Yeah, it's difficult if you have like hardwood floors in a theater room. There's just so much bass, and it's going to reinforce all that sound. Just a lot of extra reflections.
I agree.
And you even went with a curved seat here in the rear as well, right?
Yes, and these are my favorites back here. I think the risers added a lot more tactile.
Incredibly, yes.
Bass, so it definitely hits harder in the back than the front. I'm still trying to balance that fun project out, but maybe adding more subwoofers will help that.
Sure.
Mini DSP, I have one. I played around with it for a little bit, but
it's hard.
It's difficult to really know what you're doing. I think I might hire a professional for that, or just watch some more YouTube videos.
Yeah, there's definitely some great channels out there. I know Home Theater Gurus has a long, probably about an hour and a half video on that. And then my buddy Brad from Home Theater Gamer, he's got probably a 3 or 4 part series.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I haven't watched that one yet, so he might help me out.
Yeah, he makes it really simple to be able to go through, and the purpose of that is to be able to dial in multiple subwoofers. Yeah. And then one thing that we notice, and that's with most home theaters, is you definitely get different bass response as you move throughout the room. Yep. You can stand, say, here and get solid bass, and then you can walk like 1 foot or 2 foot over here, and then that bass changes drastically.
Nulls out on you.
Yeah, and so I think, this is my thought, maybe adding 2 more.
I like adding more stuff.
Wife isn't going to like that maybe, but
she might.
But if you added 2 more, and then get somebody to help you with that mini DSP to time align those so that the bass is hitting in this area the same exact time, and then also EQing that for any kind of peaks, and if there's areas of boominess and so forth. I think that would probably fill in a lot of those gaps. But you're totally right. And this was when I was at I think it was the Kansas City home theater tour, I went to a gentleman's home, and we went from the front row to the rear row, and it was a big difference. Not in the amount of bass that you feel up here, but like the physical vibration in the chair and what you feel in your body. It is a big difference. And so that the bass frequencies are, I guess, like vibrating the wood itself. Yeah. And then that's traveling through the seats. It's a pretty awesome experience. I know when we were watching John Wick, was it 3?
That was the 3, Parabellum, yeah.
So John Wick 3, motorcycle scene?
Yep.
Oh, man, that was incredible. And then you showed me I always love hearing new things. Of course, we always go to John Wick. We go to things like Ready Player One. But you played one. It was the last demo. What was that?
That was the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck. And that big gun, I don't know the name of the gun. I'm not a gun guy.
Big old sniper rifle?
That thing hammers. And it comes out of the blue. You're not really expecting it. But there's a scene earlier in the movie. You didn't see that clip. No. But he's shooting some melons, which uses that same gun.
So The Accountant, I'm going to be buying that one.
It's worth it.
Oh, my goodness. Those mini Martys slam in this room, dude. That was a phenomenal. And then the detail and the clarity, all the gunshots and shattering through the window. Just a really, really great immersive sound.
Upgrading from my other towers to those, the Klipsch towers, really, I love that horn tweeter. It sounds really crisp with glass and all that. And for the back seats here, we left ample room in the back. I think it's nice to keep the seats a little further forward. So
Absolutely.
we planned that in planning, so that's why we went with such a deep riser. That it's out probably a third of the room. Yeah, I think. And I kind of wish it was even longer, where they had that front row on some wood. You know, that might help with the tactile feel. But
sure.
And some of the reason I think it's important too is have a little further forward as you get this surround effects firing around you, more immersive.
Yeah, because they can bounce off some of the back wall where we've got some reflective surfaces, not the treatment there, but the hard surfaces. It kind of scatters that throughout. So definitely. Yeah, I wish I had, again, my room was limited. I've got 19-foot room, and then I've got a 4-foot cabinet, so I only have 15 foot of floor space to work with. So my seats are right up against the back wall, and by doing that, it makes it really boomy in the back. So being able to push those out helps minimize that, and then, like you said, it also gives a better surround sound experience as well. So then here, what do we got going on?
Yeah, the house came with a window in the plans, and I tried to get that voted out, but Mary won that one for aesthetics from outside the house. We thought it was important to have a window.
Sure, so we got a dedicated theater room, but we got a window, so how did you hide all the light?
We have blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains,
drapes,
sure. Yeah.
And then did a blackout shades.
Very cool.
And I'm probably going to make a box like we did here for the deadening for sound solution and just pop that in there.
So another acoustic panel back here on the back
I think
wall?
it wouldn't hurt. I don't think so. I'll make something the size and just pop that in there, a nice snug fit. Okay, so throughout the room we have DIY acoustic panels. I believe I have 6, and it's just 1x4, nailed together with some of the Safe and Sound Roxel insulation in there
on the inside,
with a fabric. Just pick any old fabric that'll allow the sound to penetrate.
Sure. So you can get whatever fabric you want to make it kind of fit the design and decor of your room, and by doing these, it makes it super inexpensive.
Yeah, it was just a little DIY project in the afternoon. You bang these out, you get going to town. I'll probably add more. I might add some ceiling treatments. Yeah. I saw you added some of those.
Yeah. Now, see, the difference between you and me, though, is I can't make these, man. You say,
you can do it.
I'll bang those out in the afternoon. No.
Look at the money I'm saving.
This will be a 3-month project. And it helps to have the right tools. But even if you don't, man, if you've got a buddy or a friend that has those tools, get him, hook him up with lunch or something, man. Have him come over and help you build them. But definitely can save you a lot of money. And just looking at your room, that would be a lot of hard surfaces. Without these, the acoustics in your room would be drastically different. So I'm always grateful when I see people invest in acoustic treatment in their rooms.
For decor, we've kept it pretty simple. A couple movie posters. Everybody loves Joker.
Yeah.
What a role he played.
That's awesome.
I like the way the can light just hits his face there.
For sure.
And I may build some boxes with LEDs, have lit posters eventually down the road. Maybe add a couple up front. But I think here in Florida, you're going to see many walls that are just all textured. Most every house I've been in down here.
Sure.
Whereas up north, you can probably tell from my accent, I was originally from up north.
Right.
They're just pretty much flat sheetrock painted walls. But here this is a knockdown texture, which to me adds a lot of, with the right color, brings a nice element of decor in itself.
So Nick, we've talked about your screen and your projector, and we talked about your speakers, acoustic panels, theater seating, and your risers. What do you have like powering everything as far as your wiring, and maybe kind of speak to that a little bit?
Sure, that was probably the hardest part of it. I think we started this and it was in the summer here in Florida.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of attic climbing. Yeah. I definitely wanted to add a dedicated 20 amp breaker to the front.
100%.
We had the subs come in, the amplifier and everything. So I ran another 20 amp to that. I ran a dedicated 15 for this because I didn't want it on the same circuit as the lights. Just figured it'd be safer for the projector. I wouldn't be cutting out or anything. And then the fun part, probably the worst part, was running all the cans were easy really because it has like a soffit in the ceiling. But the changing all the speakers around from going this way to this way was that was a lot of work, and thank goodness my wife was willing to help. So we had a tool called the MagnaPull.
Okay, what is that?
I don't know if you've never heard of it or not, but it's great to sneak wires. If anybody's familiar with the insulation that you use there, this Roxel Safe and Sound, it's pretty dense. So having a tool, like you drill a hole through your top plate in your wall,
okay,
and I'll feed that way. It's like a bobber almost, like a plumb bob.
Gotcha.
And it's metal, and there's a tool that she was down here with. She'll hold it up to the sheetrock, and boom, it grabs that plumb bob, and you just work it like this down to the sheetrock, and you work it slowly.
So there's a magnet on the outside
that she's on a roller magnet. And
check that out.
It was a lifever.
Now, what's that called? Because I'm going to try to find it.
MagnaPull.
MagnaPull. I'll see if I can link that down in the description.
I'm not getting anything from them, but that was
sure.
a fantastic tool, especially running everything to the front. All the the Atmos, the extra surrounds, we had to change it up.
Yeah, so. And that's one of the things that I really want to bring across in these types of videos, are even just little nuggets like that. If you're building a home theater, maybe you'll see something in this room and go, man, that'll save me time or save me money, or I can do that, or I can envision my, maybe a room, something similar to this. I just think I love being able to share this and your room. And you've done an incredible job, Nick.
Thank you, Michael.
Not only looks amazing, it's very pleasant. It feels great. It's very spacious, but it sounds phenomenal, man, from top to bottom. And so, Nick, I'd love to just kind of pick your brain and ask some questions. Maybe we'll just grab a seat here and just talk about your journey and talk about some of the decisions you made and maybe go deeper into that. So, Nick, one of the things I love doing with these home theater tours is kind of sharing the journey. And so everybody has a story. So where did your journey begin with this home theater?
About 5 years ago, we decided to build a new house again, and we knew we wanted a home theater room per se. We knew we had a 78-inch TV, we had some theater chairs, and we considered that like a home theater.
Sure.
And, in the back of my mind, I was dreaming of having something someday with a projector and a screen and all that, and have it in this direction it is now.
Yeah.
But we knew we had the TV, so we went this way, sideways
so
with it, because it fit our furniture.
Sure.
And I think about a year and a half ago, we decided, let's go for it. Let's flip the room around, roll the carpet up, and get a game plan to how we want to change the room.
So when you think about that, what made you want to go, what didn't you get with the 77-inch? Because a lot of guys ask on my channel, Michael, I'm looking at this OLED, it's 85 inches, or I could go with a projector, but I'm just not sure which way to go. Why did you decide to go to a projection?
And I'm a fan of OLED TVs too. Everything, the black levels, the colors. I mean, it's beautiful. The picture's awesome. Yeah. But for the full theater experience, I think it's important to. I don't think you can beat having a projector. And now with the technology of these projectors, 4K, 8K now, it's crazy. And it's the best experience. So we had to do it.
I think you made a wise decision. I've shared that many times on my channel that, to me, you really can't get an immersive experience even with an 85-inch TV, unless you want to sit like 2 feet in front of it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of immersiveness now at 133. Because I think the projector, I definitely have room to go wider now.
Sure.
So I think I might be up with you with a 150 pretty soon, maybe.
All right. So that kind of leads into maybe a good transition. What are maybe some future upgrades? I know everybody wants to know, what other plans do you have down the road? And then we'll go into some other questions here. But what kind of upgrades? So you mentioned maybe going a bigger screen. What do you think you'd put in there?
Maybe another couple of years or so. I think I'd try to go with at least a 150. I'd probably just take the projector and zoom it out a little bit and see how large we could actually go.
See what it looks like with that throw distance.
Right, because I'll probably always have towers. I'm never going to have a behind the screen type setup unless I want to knock that bedroom out on the other side.
Sure.
So yeah, and definitely upgrade my surrounds.
Okay.
To more tonal match to these.
Sure. And aesthetically, they would match.
Yeah, aesthetically, you take the grills off and you're looking at the goodies.
Cool. Yeah. Very cool. What else as far as upgrades?
I think I'd love to add some amplifiers, dedicated amplifiers, at least for the main stage. Maybe the monolith, was it the 7-channel? That might be good to get all the mains.
Yeah, I mean, that would do your bed layer.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, they have a larger one too, right? The 11?
I have the 11X, yeah.
So that's something I'd like to add. maybe 2 more subwoofers.
Okay. And we talked about that a little bit. And so the benefit, I mean, you don't need more bass.
Right. No.
I mean, the bass in here is incredible. The Marty subs do a phenomenal job, but I think where the multiple subs would benefit in your room is this better seat to seat, so that seat has good bass response. This one and this one. And
your buddy over here is enjoying it as much as you are, and back there you're not killing somebody.
That's right. So it's kind of more even throughout your room. And so I think that definitely would be nice. And then learning the mini DSP or maybe getting somebody to remote dial into your system and calibrate that for you, I think would be a huge upgrade.
Yeah, I agree.
So Nick, I know with my home theater, looking back 14 years ago when I first began building my setup, there's definitely some things that I would go back and do differently if I were able to. So take us back 5 years ago when you began this process. Is there anything that you would do different, based on kind of your experience now here in your home theater?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, especially knowing in the back of my mind I wanted to upgrade it to what it is now. I would have definitely run more dedicated power to the room, knowing it was going to always be a home theater. It's not going to be an art room or anything.
Okay, so you have a 20 amp up front?
Yeah, we added a 20 and a 15 up
and
here.
A 15 back.
I think it will help. I probably would have put 2 20s up front.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, it's better safe than sorry having stuff cut out, and you never know how many amplifiers you're going to have.
True. Definitely nothing wrong with having more than what you think you need. Okay, so maybe...
Yeah, definitely that.
Okay, what else?
I think I would have pre-wired it both ways and just had it even rolled up in a ball somewhere, just so I could easily pull it down to the point.
That brings a good thought. Sometimes you guys, when you're building your home theater, you don't think you're going to do something like Atmos. Yeah. And so you just put 7 speakers, or maybe you think you're only going to have a 5.1 and you don't really think about, I probably won't go 7.1. But if you do decide that after the fact and you've already put your drywall up, that's a royal pain. And so kind of pre-running wire for what could be, yeah, it's an extra expense, but it's really not that much, especially if you're doing it yourself. So running, the extra cables that you might need isn't a bad idea. Or, and I've talked about this in previous videos, did you use any kind of chase or like a conduit for any of the cables?
No, and that's something I probably would have done different just to help feeding things through. I probably would have had that all done when it was studded. You know, I could have had the tube right there and just
be so much easier, at least for the HDMI cable.
And have you audio separate. Yeah. And just make it. I've been lucky. There's no hum, so awesome. I didn't have that experience. So, but I think that's definitely put the channels in. Another thing I would probably change, which it's not. It doesn't really. Nobody would even really notice it, but the riser lip on the stair tread.
Sure, like the top part.
I thought I left plenty, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. But by the time you wrap your carpet around the pad and the carpet, and my plan was to tuck some strip lights. Yeah. It's almost where you don't see them.
Sure.
Have them up underneath there, but they are a little visible because I don't really have them tucked up enough because the overhang isn't as far.
Gotcha.
So I think I would change that, make maybe a 3-inch lip, and just. It would give me plenty of area to tuck, or just put different lights in altogether. Sure. Have a regular stair light.
And we didn't really talk about that, but so it's just a really simple LED strip, right?
Low voltage wire coming in, going out.
It was kind of interesting. It's not one wire. There's almost like 3 sections of lights, right? Did you buy it that way, or? No,
actually, I had a funny story with this. I actually made it. You had your incoming and strip light. And outgoing. Sure. So a section of whatever our tread is, and I was away on a pool tournament, and my wife, she decided, which we kind of wanted 3 individual lights. We thought it would look better, so she cut the strip. You can just cut on the how the strips work. She added the little feeder piece of wire, and she had it all done when I came home, so it was great.
That is awesome. So, and because I initially, when I walked in your room, I was like, dude, I love the way that you've got step lights, and it reminded me, I haven't even finished my own step lights, but I'm thinking the normal kind that you've got a square cutout and you put them in there, but yours were, I assumed that's what you had in there, but they were just really simple LED lights. Yeah. So that was really, really creative and something, again, low budget, doesn't cost much to do that strip, and you got some kind of underlighting for your steps. So Nick, we're about to wrap up the video, but one last question I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to the guy that's watching this video or the lady that's wanting to build something similar to this in their home theater? What advice would you give to that person?
I would say, you know, definitely don't cut corners on what you're thinking in your head that you ultimately want.
Okay.
You know, maybe buy what you can afford, of course, but spread it out a little bit over time. Mm-hmm. You don't have to have the best system out there in the first month.
100%.
You know, I know being back in the day a car stereo enthusiast, and you did it in segments.
Yeah.
You bought better speakers, better amps. So yeah, I would say definitely do that. Take it slow. Do what upgrade what you can. Don't cut corners.
Yeah, and I think part of that, I know in my life, the times that I did choose to cut those corners because I wanted to save some money, but I ultimately would have preferred to have done this. I end up eventually down the road selling what I have, losing money on the deal, buying what I originally wanted to do. So if you make a plan, if you build it over time, and maybe even get sell some stuff in your garage, man, stuff that isn't being used. Figure out a way to kind of pull those extra resources to get what you want. I think in the end you will be more satisfied than to cut corners and go, man, I should have spent a little bit extra money because I want that now. And it'll save you time and money, I think, in the long run.
Yeah, we could have saved a few thousand on a projector, and we were looking at a few different versions, which brands, and they both had good reviews, but
absolutely.
I knew one was better than the other, and decided to, pay up and get at least that projector now and a good screen.
Yeah.
So, and then we just upgraded the receiver, and then recently we just upgraded the towers. So it's been in steps.
Yeah, it's been a process, and so I love seeing the journey. I love seeing the evolution, because a lot of people, they watch a video and they see this beautiful home theater, and some of the comments I get are, man, must be nice to be rich. Or they say, I'll never be able to afford that. Or I'll never have that. I didn't think I would ever have a home theater. Did you?
No,
30 years ago?
I remember going into the mall at like Tweeter, et cetera, and they had a room set up. I was like, wow, man,
this
someday.
would be cool. But we never really thought, I didn't think that would be a reality. But the deal is that if you save up, if you build it over time, make a plan.
And parts of it are affordable. I mean, it really has.
100%. And there were a lot of areas in your room, the DIY subs saved you a ton of money.
Yeah.
Being able to do DIY acoustic panels saves a lot. Running your own speaker wire instead of hiring a guy to come in to do that.
And building the riser and doing all the extra sheetrock stuff and then running electrical, it all saved me a ton of money. So if you are handy, that helps for sure.
And again, I'm not handy, but I have friends that are handy.
Handy friends.
Yeah. So I'll buy them some speakers as payment, or I'll, buy them lunch or whatever. But, just find people that are more knowledgeable of you in those areas that can help out in the areas that maybe you're not as skilled. Well, guys, I hope you have found inspiration in this home theater. This is just one of many home theaters that we're going to be featuring here on the Florida Home Theater Tour. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video.